Hey everyone, welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan. Ruben Frank and Dave Zangaro with you here. Rube, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, everything's going well. We're into May now, which is always exciting. We have
Well into
OTAs
May.
just around the corner.
We're well into May.
Okay.
We're a quarter of the way through May somehow.
Yeah. Time, you know.
It's a weird deal.
How many bands have you seen play music in the last week and a half?
Well, including Sing Us Home Festival and then the first couple days of non-com, it's probably over 40.
It's a lot.
Yeah, Death Cab for Cutie last night was unbelievably great, and we were right on the rail, the only place to be. It was a good night.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad
More tonight.
Okay.
6 more bands tonight.
What's the headline tonight for you?
Broken Social Scene is playing a set tonight. The Animeros.
Animaniacs? Animeros, different. Okay.
Was that a 10,000 Maniacs joke?
No. Do you know the Animaniacs?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were making a... but yeah, there's... yeah. It's gonna be a good night.
All right, good. We have a lot to talk about today. We're not going to talk Flyers or Sixers at all. We're just going to get right into football on this pod. I do want to go over, I wrote something on the website recently looking at the Eagles draft picks, how much I think they'll play, what their roles are going to be as rookies. So I want to go
It's a fun story to do and to read.
Yeah, always fun. So I want to go through that with you in a little bit. I have some takeaways from watching the Eagles All Access from behind the scenes of their draft. And we have questions as well. But let's start with the news this week, some of the front office shakeups the Eagles have undergone this offseason. And we already knew that Alec Hallaby was leaving, Bryce Johnston was leaving. We knew that Big Dom was staying, and we knew that John Ferrari was staying. But the Eagles announced a whole bunch of other promotions and new hires.
Yeah, and this is an annual tradition about this time, usually a couple weeks after the draft. Things they do promotions and people leave and kind of reshuffle the scouting department. We knew it was coming. It's always an interesting, we'll get a press release with like 50 transactions on it. It's always interesting to go through it. But I think the main thing for me is they keep losing good people. And you mentioned the people that have left in the last couple of weeks and how he keeps replacing them. And he's got a really uncanny eye for front office talent. We know about his eye for on-the-field talent, but he's also just as good a talent evaluator when it comes to the front office. And he has to be to keep replacing all the people that they've left, really since about 2019 is when the floodgates started, I think. He's lost so many top people, some of his most valued assistants and scouting directors and vice presidents of this and that. Who was the vice president of tertiary football operations? They didn't fill that position. I might send my resume in. I don't know what that means.
Bryce Johnston was.
Yeah, Bryce had that title, but the success they've had, and they just keep winning, and it makes these people valuable to other teams. So they keep rating the Eagles. They're like a NFL front office employment agency. They keep rating the Eagles and taking their good people. Howie brings in more. They keep moving up, and then they get poached. So it's an unending process, and Howie's eye for replacing the people that he loses is exceptional.
Yeah,
and it has to be.
Yeah. So you'd say he's a good talent evaluator?
I think that's a good way to put it. Good talent evaluator.
You're right. And we talked about it on the last pod when we were mentioning some of the other moves that we already knew about. But You're right. They haven't missed a beat. They've been really good. And it's always a tricky thing because are they going to miss Alec Hallaby? Yeah, like he's a really talented guy. He's meant a lot to the front office. And you don't want to just gloss over it because they're going to miss him. And he was really valuable. But you can say that without worrying that like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't mean like they're going to miss Alec Hallaby and the organization's going to tank because he's not going to be there. They're going to miss him, but I still have a lot of faith in Howie being able to stock this front office and the scouting department with people who are really going to be good at their jobs.
Yeah, and Howie's been around a long time, and I think when you're a GM that long, you have relationships with everybody around the league, not just GMs, but player personnel directors, college scouts. You know who's good at their job just from conversations. And so he goes out and gets these entry-level guys, and they start out maybe as a regional scout or something, and they move up. become a director of something or other, strategic operations. Now, Howie just makes these titles up. I even asked him once about that. I was like, how do you come up with everyone's title? He just says, I just throw a bunch of words out there: strategic, vice president, director. And then those guys.
If you had to do that, what would your title be?
I think I asked Howie that what title he would give me. Remember that?
We probably can't say that.
Yeah,
here.
it was not complimentary. It was not. He was not very nice. I would want strategic in there. I'd want tertiary in there. I'd probably want operations, maybe director of tertiary strategic operations. I think we'll go with that.
We're not getting the word Eagles in there.
Well, that's goes without saying.
Okay.
What would yours be?
Tertiary is fun. I like strategic. Strategic is the word I think I'd want in there.
We're gonna have the same title.
No, I want to be. Can I be a vice president?
Yeah.
So I'd say vice president of strategic Eagles multimedia.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's good.
Strategic multimedia. What does that even mean?
None of this means anything.
No.
But look, I think that you do kind of have to read between the lines. Like, what are these guys actually doing? And sometimes we don't know. But the headline here for me is that Adam Berry is now moving up into the assistant general manager spot vacated by Alec Halaby. And he's someone who we've known about. We've talked about Adam Berry before. His twin brother, Andrew Berry, was here for a year and then became the general manager in Cleveland in 2020. And they are really identical. If we saw them when the Browns were here for practices, and it's tough to tell them apart. And it still freaks me out sometimes when I see Adam Berry in the building. But yeah, this is a quick rise for a guy that was not even in the football world a few years ago.
His background is fascinating. I mean, he was at Goldman Sachs on Wall Street for, I think it was 14 years.
14, yeah.
And he was a Princeton guy, Princeton educated. Most of these guys are Harvard, so kind of went to a different Ivy League school. But 14 years, and Howie just has that eye for talent. He thought he'd be valuable to the franchise, and he coaxed him out of, I think he was, national director of loan operations for Goldman Sachs, which is a pretty high-level job. You got to think he was making some decent money doing that. So Howie must have matched that offer, whatever he was making.
I mean, that goes to Jeffrey, though, and that's part of being a good owner is being willing to spend outside of the salary cap. You can only pay players so much. That is capped, but you can spend money in other ways, and I think Jeffrey has shown that ability and
inclination.
Yeah,
so he can give Adam Berry $2 million a year to come work as strategic tertiary initiatives director. But interesting background. And you just don't see that. A guy who was not in football for a decade and a half come in and now be an assistant GM. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, so the way the structure works is Howie's obviously the GM, 2 assistant GMs under him, John Ferrari, we talked about on the last pod, and he's more, and not necessarily in the personnel realm, and then Adam Berry takes that other VP spot. And I looked at his bio from his previous job description, and he was kind of in all different areas of the front office, and I think that'll continue as an assistant GM.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about Howie. Like, he understands what all these guys are good at and what they're not so good at, and he doesn't put them in positions where they're going to struggle. He gets the most out of them by putting them in positions and giving them responsibilities that they're going to be good at.
So that's the Adam Berry part of it. I think the other notable one for me, and there was a few notable ones, but Joe Douglas now has a real role. It looks like he's going to be atop the scouting department, which is kind of where he was years ago before he took the GM job with the New York Jets. He is now the executive vice president of player personnel. Used to be the vice president of player personnel, so he gets an executive next to his name.
I might want an executive on my title. Might have to consider that. And Joe obviously did not have great success with the Jets as GM, but again, is a guy that Howie's really comfortable with. He's worked with him before. He values
senior,
him.
not executive.
Oh, okay.
Senior vice president of player personnel.
Can I be senior executive director of strategic tertiary football operations? Which part of my job description as that will be deciding what music gets played at the link on game days. So we're going to retire dance pop and go hardcore Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Pantera. We're going to get that place like a real football stadium, not a dance club. What was the question? Oh, front office, yeah. Yeah, he really values Joe, and he's got a real comfort level with Joe Douglas.
We forget. I mean, when Howie got put back in the power in 2016, it came with the caveat that he had to hire a top-tier personnel guy,
Right.
and they waited for a long time, but that search ultimately led them to Joe Douglas. So it was like, it was a really important hire for the organization when they hired Joe Douglas. I know he eventually left, and things didn't go particularly well with the Jets, but he has a really important place in Eagles history, honestly, because Howie wouldn't have been back in power unless they were going to hire a guy who eventually became Joe Douglas.
Yeah. And Joe Douglas was here for the 17 run and came back last year, I guess. So he wasn't here for the second Super Bowl. But, yeah, he's a guy Howie really, really appreciates, and I think he'll be here for the long haul.
Yeah, so that's kind of what stood out to me is like, will he get another GM job? Maybe he interviewed for one or there was some interest in one. But last year he was kind of in a weird role where he was spending some time with the offensive line and he was like helping coach to the point where like some players thought he was a coach.
It was a weird deal. You'd see him at practice like stacking pads after practice with Jason Kelsey helping him. It's like we have a Hall of Famer and a former GM putting gear away. But yeah,
but this seems like a more long-term role.
It does.
Senior Vice President of Player Personnel. It seems like he is now back atop the scouting department. And they have a couple of VPs of Player Personnel, I guess, who are now under him.
Yeah.
The other big one was Alan Wolking. Let me find the titles themselves are
I had
tricky.
to look up everybody's former title when I wrote that story.
Yeah, Alan Wolking went from Vice President of Player Personnel to Vice President of Football Operation and Strategic Initiative, so kind of a broader scope job for him. And then Phil Baya, who's been in the scouting department for a while now, gets promoted to Vice President of Player Personnel to take that job.
Yeah, and they're probably future assistant GMs. Like when...
Yeah, so the two VPs of Player Personnel are now Phil Baya and Chuck Walls.
Yeah. I wouldn't guess that Joe Douglas is going to get another GM job. You never know. I mean, it went so poorly up there. But, yeah, you never know if they keep winning here.
He got some draft picks right. Now, the one that killed him was if you get the quarterback wrong, it really puts the franchise behind.
Yeah. He got it wrong. With the Jets, that is.
Yeah. So I guess the other big headline from all this is another former Jets general manager joining the fold, Mike McCagnon.
Yeah, and I got a funny Slack message from Dave that the Jets record Joe replaced him when he got fired a couple months later. What was it, like 51 and 106?
Yeah,
something like that.
56 and 108 from 2015 through 2024.
And the only team with the worst record during that span was the Jaguars, and their GM for a good chunk of that was Dave Caldwell.
Who was here.
He's now at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But he was here for quite a while. He was here for the second
University
Super Bowl.
of Florida, that is.
Yeah. As opposed to Florida Marlins.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's not with the NFL.
No. There's not a Florida.
I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Thank you.
Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville. But yeah. So, I mean, Howie clearly believes that one loss record as a GM is irrelevant to how much the guy can help the franchise.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that, you know, if a guy's not good at a job, he eventually, like, he rises to a level. He rose to that level for a reason, presumably. Like, he was good at
Is that the Peter principle? That you rise to your level of incompetence?
I believe so. And then sometimes you rise above it, and then you got to fall back down. But, you know, like Mike Groh was a good receivers coach. He was a bad OC. Like sometimes you forget that some people are good at something. Like Kevin Patullo, maybe he was a good pass game coordinator. He was a bad OC. That exists outside of the coaching realm too.
Sure.
Joe Douglas could have been really good at this job here, and it's always tough to tell. Like the GM, it all falls on them. You get to see the players, you get to see the win-loss record. Whereas if you're in a job before that, it's impossible for outsiders to really know. You can talk to people and try to glean it through that, but you never really truly know because there's no tangible data. Whereas GM, it's out there for the world to see.
Yeah. And I think we've all worked with somebody who is a great example of the Peter principle. You just get promoted as long as you're good at your job until you get to a job you're not good at, and then you stay there. So in theory, according to the Peter principle, everybody is incompetent at what they do, which I'm not going to argue with. But I mean, eventually some people get demoted or fired, but a good number don't. They stay in that position that they're not good at. They don't get promoted anymore. Mm-hmm. It's a big corporate, concept. It's a fun book.
Yeah, I like the theory behind that. Now, of course, people can get better. At a job as well.
It's possible. I think it's rare
for people to get better at a job.
To keep getting promoted until they're bad at something and then get good at it, I don't think it happens all that much. Maybe it does.
I'd argue that in a world like the NFL, there's not normally ample time to get better at it. Yeah. So McCagnon brought on. I think those are probably the headlines. Anything else that you wanted to touch on from the way that these guys have moved around?
Our pal Matt Leo got a promotion.
Yeah, Matt Leo now. Director of Player Engagement from Player Development Assistant. He's had a few titles, and he's moving up quickly.
Yeah. What an improbable story. I mean, he was, kind of just, this was all out of nowhere.
Yeah, good for him.
Sharp guy.
Yeah. Lee DiValerio goes from college to pro scouting. That's one of the other big shakeups, but it's a deep bench. And it needs to be because they're going to keep losing people. And it is kind of strange to me that it hasn't happened at the highest level. Recently, I thought Hallaby was going to be the guy that took that jump, and it never happened for him. He just left before it ever happened. I thought he was going to get a GM job, and we talked about it on the last pod, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just don't understand why a team wouldn't hire him to be their general manager.
I feel the same way, yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
The Eagles have kind of become... I don't want to say gold standard because
it's been used. It's
been used before, but I mean they're one of the teams that if you're looking around the league and you want to model your front office after a team, this is one of them that I would do it with. And the lack of people being hired away at the top is shocking. Now they've had people hired away, and those people have continued to rise elsewhere. But the fact that none of these guys have just been hired away as GMs is confusing.
I wonder if Howie Roseman ever gets job offers like from corporations. Like he'd be a hell of an executive, like at some big corporation.
I guess we know what he thinks about having this job though.
Yeah, it's the only job he'll ever have.
It's the only job he ever wanted.
Yeah.
So it is cool to hear him. He geeks out about it.
He does.
He really still loves it.
Yeah. He really does.
He really does. Like it's not for show. Like he really does get excited about this stuff.
Yeah. I was making a list of like the most important people in Eagles history. And I mean, he's not, maybe not at the very top, but he's very close.
Yeah. How many people will be above him?
Probably Jeffrey.
Sure. That's tough to argue.
Maybe Burt Bell, who started the franchise. Mm-hmm. That might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Dom.
Maybe Big Dom.
Big Dom's up there.
Maybe Matt Leo.
All right. So that's all the front office stuff. Want to move on from that?
Yeah.
Okay. So not a good segue here. Let's just talk about the draft picks and how much they're going to play as rookies. This is a fun story to do every year. I do take a pretty deep dive into some of the past history at that position and where they're drafted. But let's start with just our thoughts on first-round pick Mekhi Lemon. What's his role going to be as a rookie?
Well, there's kind of whispers that AJ might be traded. I don't know if you've heard this one.
AJ Brown?
Yeah. AJ Feely. They got a 2 for A.J. Feely from the Dolphins. Imagine if they end up getting more for A.J. Feely than A.J. Brown.
Seems unlikely.
Seems unlikely. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to play a lot. He's going to be WR2, and there's going to be games where he's WR1. If a team just decides we're going to take Devontae out of the game, there's going to be games Lemon has 108 yards and Devontae has 59. Maybe not those exact numbers, but I mean, he's got a huge role, and I think these days rookie wide receivers come in and they play and they make plays, and it's not unusual for rookies to catch 80 balls for 1,150 yards and 8 touchdowns. So what happens? They play in these pro-style offenses that get them ready. They come in and they're ready to go, and I expect big things from them.
Yeah, and that's changed. I mean, if we were talking 15 years ago, you'd be like, hey, he's a rookie receiver. Let's see what happens. Yeah, recent history suggests this guy's going to come in and play a big role immediately. I looked up some numbers. So over the last 5 years, 25 receivers have been drafted in the first round. Those 25 have averaged just shy of 60 catches, 762 yards, and just under 5 touchdowns as rookies.
That's incredible. I mean,
and there's obviously there are some crazy huge seasons,
but there's also some 12 catches for 300 yards.
The biggest outlier in any of this was Jameson Williams, who just had 1 catch for 41 yards as a rookie.
Yeah. That's interesting. Those are interesting numbers. That's right around where I would have guessed. I would have guessed a little lower on both. I would have guessed like 48 for 525 or something like that.
And then I broke it down by picks. So picks basically into thirds. And the teens is a little skewed because there are only 5 players and one of them was Jameson Williams. But there is a pretty big difference between the top 10 picks versus the guys in the 20s. So the top 10 picks averaged 77.7 catches, over 1,000 yards, 6.3 touchdowns, whereas in the 20s and 31 and 32, 53.5 catches, 631 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I bring all this up to say that
this is almost like Zach Berman level of obsession here.
Well, I don't know. I like going through the numbers of this, and I think it matters here because it shows that there's a really big difference between the guys you get early in the draft and the guys in the 20s. But I will say that in this case in particular, it stands out because the Eagles, by the consensus board, got a lot of value by drafting Mekhi Lemon where they did.
So that said, give me a prediction for catches, yards, and touchdowns for Mekhi Lemon.
Okay, I haven't done that, so I don't want to just say numbers right now.
You're not going to go on a limb and just give me a prediction?
On May 7th? Okay, I can change this. I'll say 60 catches. No, you know what? Give me 63 catches for 812 yards, 4 touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think that's reasonable. I think that's probably where it's going to be. So also I have the list of the top 10 rookie seasons in Eagles history. So in front of me I have it. Devontae Smith is at the top of the list with 916 back in 2021. Deshaun Jackson 912, Jordan Matthews 872, Keith Jackson 869, Charlie Young 854.
Both tight ends.
Jeremy Maclin 773, Fred Barnett 721, Don Looney 707.
Love Don Looney.
Calvin Williams 602, Reggie Brown 571. I think it'd be kind of surprising if Mekhi Lemon isn't in that top 10 by the end of the year. It's just a matter of where he's going to fall.
I think he'll be in the top. What's fifth?
Fifth is Charlie Young at 854. So I would have him 6th with my prediction.
Yeah, I think that's the place to put him. Charlie Young and Keith Jackson, I believe, are the last 2 position players to make first-team All-Pro as rookies for the Eagles. Both tight ends.
Yeah, Keith in 1988, Charlie Young in 1973. And Charlie, rough spelling.
Yeah, Charle.
Yeah.
I got that wrong a lot back when I was in my newspaper days. My desk never caught that.
How would you do it wrong?
Charlie.
IE. Yeah. I didn't know if you'd go EY.
I didn't really cover them.
True.
Covered Keith.
His name comes up, though.
Yeah.
So you'd have him around the same range, like 5 or 6 probably?
Yeah.
I think that's realistic. Now, the other part of this is, is he going to line up outside at sometimes? I think he's going to have to, but over 75% of his snaps in college came in the slot.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what that looks like. I don't think that number will be that high this year. But, a lot of it's going to depend on the other receivers and who looks good and who doesn't.
Yeah, and we know the other top two, Devontae Smith and Dontavian Wicks, can play inside and outside. So you can mix and match a little bit. But because those guys have played more outside, I would think that Lemon's going to be predominantly in the slot.
Makes sense.
But I also think he'll leave the field less than Wicks. So there are going to be times where you're in 12 personnel where you're going to want Lemon on the field.
Yeah.
Unless you really value Wicks as a blocker, which they might.
Yeah. It's all interesting.
Mm-hmm. He is right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th shortest odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Excuse me. Who else is on that list?
Jeremiah Love has the shortest odds at plus 250. Fernando Mendoza, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Jadarian Prince above Mekhi Lemon.
All right. It's good company to be in.
Yeah, I think so. So we're both expecting a pretty good season from Mekhi Lemon. All right, let's move on to the second-round pick, Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt. I did the same thing with tight ends drafted in the second round. These numbers are not great. I mean, these numbers, if you're thinking Stowers is going to have some major pass-catching role, he might. It doesn't mean he won't, but over the past 5 drafts, 11 tight ends have been selected in the first round. They've averaged 29 catches.
This is the first round?
What?
You're doing first round here or second round?
Second round.
You said first round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
11 tight ends have been drafted in the second round, averaging 29 catches, 292 yards, 2.7 touchdowns in their rookie seasons.
And I think that would be a disappointing year for Stowers. What's the catches?
29.
29.
And the outlier here is Sam Laporta, who had 889 and 10 touchdowns as a rookie.
And he broke Keith Jackson's rookie record, which was in turn broken by, was it Trey McBride maybe?
Yeah.
I'd like to see Stowers. And again, there's only one football, and they got a lot of guys who are going to need targets, but I think 400 is a good number for him.
That'd be nice. Now, the problem here is that Dallas Goedert is still on the roster. He's still going to be tight end 1.
Yeah.
What is the 12 personnel usage going to look like? Eagles last year were 12th in the NFL, 26%. The Packers were 5th, 33.7%. So with Sean Mannion coming here, you can sell me on the idea that they're going to be in more 12 personnel.
Yeah, I think that's logical to assume, especially with their personnel.
So who do you think plays more this year? Eli Stowers or whoever ends up as the third receiver?
Oh, interesting. I would guess the third receiver.
I would too. You're still, even if you play a lot of 12. Now, but another part of this is Dallas Goedert stayed healthy last year. He has not stayed healthy in previous years. So if he misses 4 or 5 games and Stowers kind of gets promoted.
But it's just as possible that one of the receivers gets hurt.
Just as possible, maybe, but Goddard kind of has a history of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I would still guess the third receiver, because I think the third receiver is probably going to be Dontavian Wicks, and they got him here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to go through the other draft picks, and then we'll answer a bunch of questions as well.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Ignite the Orange Flyers bus tour. Playoff hockey continues, and we're celebrating with special guests and exclusive swag. Go to NBC Sports Philadelphia.com for the full schedule. Sponsored by Toyota, proud presenting partner of the 2026 Philadelphia Flyers playoffs.
Back on the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Ruben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Let's move to the third round, Rube. Markel Bell, number 68 overall. How much do you think this guy plays?
I think he's going to play. I mean, you have Big Fred, who's going to be the swing guy. I mean, I think he's kind of a developmental guy at this point.
Yeah. Now, a third-round pick as a developmental guy is not normally the way it goes.
Right.
What about this scenario? What if they say, hey, Fred's going to be the backup at one of the sides, and Markel's going to be the backup at the other? Because they're going to have to do that in practice.
Right.
Like, one of them is going to have to be on one side and one has to be on the other. And we kind of saw them do that last year. It was not a good idea when they had Fred sitting on the bench and they brought Matt Pryor in a game.
Oops.
But it showed you that, and maybe that was Jeff Stalin, who's no longer the offensive line coach, but that shows you that organizationally they were okay with that idea of having a backup left tackle and a backup right tackle.
Yeah, I just don't think that Bell is going to be at the point where he's ahead of Big Fred at either side. Now,
Pryor wasn't either.
Yeah, I know, but Pryor was a veteran who'd played a lot of football. This is a rookie, third round pick. Yeah, I think it's a different situation, and I think Big Fred has shown that he can handle it. But I could be wrong, but I just don't think Markel Bell's going to play.
Is there any chance
he starts at right tackle?
No. Is there any chance he beats out Big Fred and becomes a swing tackle?
I'd be very surprised. When you're talking about Big Fred,
non-zero chance?
Nothing's a zero chance, but it's low because Big Fred's played a lot. He started a lot of games. He's had some really good games. He's not Lane, he's not Jordan, but I think he's a capable backup swing tackle. We've never even seen Markel Bell. We've never seen him play, so it's hard to. I just don't think he's ready for that yet, for that step.
Game day active?
Maybe not.
Okay.
That'd be bad to have your third round pick, but I just don't see where he fits in.
You get 8 active on game day.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Round 5, 178 overall. Cole Payton, quarterback out of North Dakota State. And with most quarterbacks, if I tell you they drafted a 5th-round quarterback who's 4th on the depth chart, you'd be like, well, he's not playing at all. What are you talking about? There's a little bit of intrigue here just because of his set of skills.
Yeah, he can run, man. He's 2,000 yards, almost 2,000 yards in college. The one year he wasn't even playing quarterback, and he had over 600 rushing yards. So they found ways to use him in Fargo. And I would expect it'll be the same here. Maybe not to that extent. Only he's going to have 600 rushing yards. But if they can get him on the game day active, I could see a couple plays for him here and there. I think he's a really talented kid, and you can do a lot of things with him. So the problem is having him up on game day.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, typically you have 2 quarterbacks up and then a third is the emergency. Having him as the emergency doesn't really help you,
right?
Because you can't then use him. So you might have to have 3 quarterbacks active.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to be short somewhere else, and that's not ideal. So,
and this is all assuming that they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, which right now they have 4.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a tricky situation, and he's got some talent, but yeah, I just don't know how you can make the roster construction work.
Mm-hmm. It would be fun. It'd be fun for him to have, a set of plays or some sort of package that he's able to be out there. Do you think he would need to play special teams? And do you think they'd be willing to let a quarterback play special teams?
He brought up himself at his presser, I think it was in the auditorium the second time we talked to him, that he was on punt team in college, and he was very proud of that. And he's like, I was on punt team as a quarterback. So I think if he's up, he's going to have to do something like that. I remember Jeff Hostetler playing, I think he was on like punt coverage. Where'd he go? WVU? Was he a Mountaineer?
I don't know the answer. You want me to look that up?
Sure. But I remember watching him play special teams. It was like a starting quarterback, which you got to love. And I think he had started out as a linebacker.
West Virginia.
That's what I said, right?
Yep. Penn State before that.
Okay, yeah.
So I did look up Taysom Hill and his usage early on, just because that's the guy that everyone's kind of compared Cole Payton to. Played one offensive snap as a rookie, Taysom Hill.
Really?
But and he played 71 on special teams. But, like, there was no Taysom Hill to model, you know what I mean? Like, Taysom Hill having success is now a model for Cole Payton, and that wasn't necessarily there for Hill. So I don't know exactly what to make of that.
Yeah. Was Taysom Hill undrafted?
Yeah. Out of BYU.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go back and look at the Saints roster in 2017 and just see how they did it. So his first year of really being a weapon was his second year in 18.
Mm-hmm. Just the idea of, like, having Cole Payton on the field, you can throw it to him. Then he's a lefty, so it's going to throw people off. I do honestly, sometimes the lefty stuff is fun for me to think about because it's just so different. And if you're not, like, preparing for it, like, you pitch the ball to a guy who's running left, you don't expect him to throw it. It's kind of like the Kenny Gainwell.
That was the whole Keith Byers thing.
Mm-hmm.
The one year he went 4 for 4 with 4 touchdown passes. And then he made me look up in the pre-Stathead days. He was like, Rube, has any non-quarterback ever thrown 4 touchdowns in a season? You couldn't look something like that up. I had to go through the encyclopedia year by year to find it. Took hours.
What was the answer?
No, the answer was no. It never happened. I could have done that search in 5 seconds on Stathead. Well, probably more like half a minute with the verifying that I'm human 3 times along the way. But yeah, Byers was left-handed. He would roll out, and even though defenses knew he was left-handed, you just don't.
You don't think he's going to throw it.
You don't think he's going to throw it when the ball in his left hand running. I mean, I think if he does play, he could do some positive things. The challenge is going to be getting him on the field.
Yeah. And look, I think as useful as Taysom Hill was for many years, there were moments where, like, you'd be playing the Saints and you'd say, yeah, sure, Sean Payton, take Drew Brees off the field, you idiot. Like, there was an element of that, too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, next one.
But there's also ways to use a guy like this. Like I think he could play H-back or something. Like you can have him out there without taking Jalen off the field.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, almost as exciting or more exciting.
Sure.
Yeah. Round 6, 207, Micah Morris, offensive guard out of Georgia. I actually think there's a chance we could see Micah Morris this year.
I do too.
So you look at their depth chart. Obviously, they have the 2 starters, Landon Dickerson at left guard, Tyler Steen at right guard. Their top interior backup is Drew Kendall, who has cross-trained to guard, but I think is still more of a center. So they lost Brett Toth, who was their top interior backup last year. Drew Kendall is now their top interior backup this year, but he's more of a center. So, yeah, I think Micah Morris has a chance to play if there's an injury this year.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week when you asked like which late round guy I think was most likely to get on the field, and I think he might be the answer just because of that. They just don't have guard depth, and I mean Drew Kendall might be the next guy in, but we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen him play it in a game,
and they're excited about him. Like we know that the team likes him, but
he could just be a center. It's possible. We don't know what they think of him as a guard. Yeah, I think there's a chance if he has a good camp. And he's got to make the team first. I think there's a pretty good chance of that. Big dude.
Huge.
And
crazy athletic. He's one of those guys where, like, I'm obviously not a scout. I don't work for an NFL team. I don't understand what makes him a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
It doesn't make sense to me. I know, like, his play style, Barrett has talked about, he's really upright, and scouts are not going to like that. But here's a guy who's, like, huge. He's 6'5", 333, has started games in the SEC, has not allowed a sack, and has, like, next-level athleticism. Like, why is he drafted in the 6th round and not in the third round, 4th round?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't understand how we arrive to the final destination here.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing when I read up on him after they drafted him, and I don't have an answer. Some guys are just branded with maybe there's something in his interviews that didn't go well, or
That was the one thing. It was like it could be some questions of motivation.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It seems like he has all the things you'd want.
yeah, physically he's an imposing kid. I think there's a chance he's the first guard in.
7th round,
And
240.
considering Landon Dickerson's knee situation, first guard in might be playing.
Round 7, 244 overall. Cole Wisniewski from Texas Tech. Kind of a fun one to talk about in the 7th round because could he play this year? Yeah, absolutely.
He should be a pretty good special teamer, and they got to replace Sidney, and who was a good special teams player.
Might have to replace Keely Ringo if he's not
might.
on the roster.
Yeah. So I do think he's gonna be a core special teamer.
Could he challenge for a starting role?
It's hard to picture that. That's a lot to ask from a guy drafted where he was drafted. I mean, Reed Blankenship was undrafted and started some games as a rookie, but I think that's a lot to ask.
It is, but you also look at where they are at safety, and you say, okay, they got Marcus Epps, Michael Carter, and Drew Makuba. Is there a chance he could push for time? Maybe.
I guess there's a chance, but I think it's kind of a long shot.
Okay. Round 7,
I
250.
mean, they want Makuba to play. He was a 2. Epps, I don't think there's any compelling reason for him to, if he's not playing well, they wouldn't hesitate to get him out of there. I guess Carter would be the next guy in. We haven't really seen him play safety, so I guess anything's possible.
And that's a position they could still add.
Sure.
All right, we good on Cole?
Yeah.
Next one, 251 overall, Uar Bernard. Great story. He's not going to play this year.
I think he'll start by week 4. Yeah. I think next year is the best case scenario. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of learning to do.
I'd be pretty shocked if he played this year.
I'd be stunned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although, I do believe this, if you had to teach someone football from the ground up, defensive tackle is easier than offensive tackle.
No question. No question about it. It's probably the easiest position to do this without ever having played the game. Like, what would be easier?
You might be right. Yeah, because like if you screw up a play, you're not like getting a quarterback killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're not giving up a big play.
Yeah. Okay. And then with the next pick, Keyshawn James Newby, edge rusher from New Mexico. I want to make sure that I don't lump this poor kid in with Antoine Powell-Ryland, who did not play last year, who's not on the 90-man roster anymore. He's with Cincinnati. Because it's unfair to James Newby. It's tempting because it's like
the parallels.
A lot of parallels, like 7th round edge rusher.
Big sack production.
Sack production in college.
Hyphenated name.
A little undersized. So like all these are there, but it is unfair to James Newby, who like to his credit was productive in a bunch of different stops in college.
Yeah, 3 different colleges. What was he? I think I asked him what life was like at Montana Tech. And he said, we'd ride our horses to practice. And then everyone's got to look at him and goes, I'm just kidding. I wasn't really sure.
He's good.
That was a good line. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tough for him to get on the field. I mean, he's another one who's got to make the team first. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he does in camp, and maybe he can fight for some playing time. They've been looking for edge rushers everywhere. So it's possible. Maybe he'll end up on the Bengals practice squad next year.
Of all the undrafted guys, is there one who you think has a chance to earn some playing time this year?
That linebacker,
Deontay Lawson.
Lawson, I think, is the guy who could be a really interesting one. That position, not a ton of depth. I think they like Smile. I think Trotter can play, but he's a potential special teams guy, which they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, he's someone who, you look at the profile, like Alabama was really good there, was a captain. The injuries held him back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's been fun. Real quick, before we get to questions, and we have a few that I definitely want to get to today, I had a chance to watch the Eagles All Access behind-the-scenes footage of the draft. Some really cool moments in there. They go through the Red Star meeting from before the draft started, and we learned 2 of the Red Stars, which were like the players they say like exemplify what it means to be an Eagle. These are what they call passion players for them. Eli Stowers was one of them, and Cole Payton was another.
Yeah, and they usually kind of, Howie won't tell us who they are, so it's kind of nice to find out. I guess each scout picks one guy that they feel really strongly about, and they present them to the other scouts and to Howie before the draft. So they got 2 of them, at least.
Which, look, you kind of look back at some of the guys they've drafted who have been Red Stars, and, I don't know if there's necessarily a track record there, but those were 2 of them. And then Howie says this is his favorite meeting of the year, the Day 3 Passion meeting. And they were able to recoup some picks for Day 3 this year so they could have this meeting. I know they were going to get some players. I thought the most interesting part of the entire, I think it was like almost a 20-minute segment on YouTube, was Clint Hurt talking about Uar Bernard.
Yeah, it was very, very, what's the word?
Passionate?
Passionate, yeah, thank you. Remarks about the kid. He said, I'm not quoting him, but just paraphrasing.
Here, I can quote him. I have it written out if you want it. Yeah, this was what at least they showed Clint Hurt, the defensive line coach, said about Uar Bernard. I understand he hasn't played, but this kid's got more talent in his body physically than some of the guys that got drafted in the first 2 days. I'd love to get my hands on him. Explosive, violent, heavy-handed kid. Ton of upside. Developmental guy, but I trust myself and I believe in the kid.
I love that.
I do too. And part of me thinks that when Clint Hurt says this, everyone goes, "Yeah, Clint, we'll draft the kid. Yeah, whatever you say, we're going to draft Uar."
Promise. I don't know how he knows he's violent when he's never played.
I guess violent.
To
the bag
from a workout. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's intriguing, and I probably have gotten asked more about him than anybody they drafted other than Mackay. It's such a unique story, such an interesting story, and when you look at the numbers, it's like, let's go. Let's get him suited up.
Yeah. And it's tough to not be excited more about it when you see how passionate their defensive line coach is about him. And a really good defensive line coach, a guy who's been doing this for a long time, a guy who has been a DC in the NFL, that he's that excited about him is pretty cool.
Yeah, they do a great job of putting those together.
Yeah. And the other one I wanted to mention,
videos.
Micah Morris was a passion player presented by Alec Halaby, who just left the organization.
Got him drafted and then quit.
I think quit is a little harsh.
He quit.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I wonder when we'll hear something about him.
I don't know.
I would think pretty soon. It's kind of weird to leave a job when you don't have another job lined up.
Okay. You want to take some questions?
I would love that.
Let's do that. Eagle Eye at NBCUni.com. QR code is on the screen. You can scan us a question, or scan the QR code, send us a question that way. The first one is a long one, but I think it's really cool, so I wanted to read this one from Rich. And typically, this does not change the fact that most of your long emails will not get read. This one I thought was cool. Hey, Dave and Rube, I'm a longtime fan of your writing and podcast and also a Bucks County resident. In the last Eagle Eye podcast, Dave and you were talking about which players have worn what numbers in the past. The discussion came to Randall Cunningham and his number 12. Then you said, some guy named Bob Holly wore that number before him. I chuckled and shared your comment with a friend of mine. We both are friends with and college classmates of Bob. My friend joked that Bob was ticked that Randall never asked him for his blessing to wear number 12. As for Bob, he started at Princeton, where he played baseball. His most shining moment came in our second to last game of our senior year. Princeton had lost 15 in a row to its arch rival Yale, which Princetonians view as the football arch rival and not Penn. Yale was undefeated and ranked 19th in the country. The legendary Carmen Koza, one of the men who came out of Miami of Ohio, was
Cradle of the coaches.
Was Yale's coach.
You ever been to the Cradle of the Coaches? You're a world traveler.
No.
Miami of Ohio has produced so many NFL coaches and big-time college coaches. They call it the Cradle of the Coaches. And in their basketball arena, I believe it's Millett Hall, they have plaques of every one of them. It's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry. Yale was up 22-0 with about 8 minutes to go in the first half. Bob rallied the team. Yale went into the locker room leading 22-15. To make a long story short, Bob threw for 501 yards that day, completing 35 of 51 passes and scored the game-winning touchdown with 4 seconds to go. Princeton won 35-31.
Yes, Tigers. Old
Sports,
Nassau.
Sports Illustrated named him its Offensive Player of the Week. I was play-by-play announcer that day for the student radio station WPRB. The game was a broadcaster's dream.
That's a great radio station, by the way, PRB.
Decades later, a panel of Princeton football alums voted that contest the best game ever played at Palmer Stadium. The Redskins drafted Bob in the 11th round in 1982 and won the Super Bowl that year. Bob made the team and was a second-string quarterback. Joe Theismann played every down that season, so Bob might be the only backup QB in Super Bowl history to win a ring without ever having played a down. He stayed with the Redskins for another season, moved to the Eagles in 1984, and then reunited with Washington's former OC Dan Henning in Atlanta for a few seasons. A car accident, he was a passenger, ended his career. Bob went on to a career in institutional financial sales on Wall Street, now lives in Princeton with his wife, and is a financial advisor with Morgan Stanley. He goes to all Princeton home games. His son Patrick was a quarterback at Harvard and is now a scout for the Chicago Bears. Most importantly, he has always been the same guy, nice, warm, humble. I know a few Eagles fans will remember him, I get it. I also figure that you might appreciate this story just the same.
And he's a Jersey guy. He went to Clifton High School in Middlesex County. Clifton's not in Bergen. Or maybe Passaic County. But yeah, Jersey guy. Interesting story. I love that email.
That was cool. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Very well written as well, Rich. Next one from Jeremy. Hey, Dave and Rube, love the show. Always keeps me up to date with the Birds while I am stationed down in North Carolina. We know you can't pay everybody on the 53-man roster. Some got to be cheap deals and some take a big portion of the salary cap. Do you think Howie is accepting that safety is going to be our cheap position and isn't so worried about it due to the fact that we have arguably the best deep cornerback trio in the NFL? I know safety is important, but if Coop, Quinion, and Reek Woolen can be top tier, the safety is adequate. Thank you guys for all you do.
And thank you for your service. He said he's stationed down in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for your service. Yeah, I mean, every team has positions that they just can't.
Could you say stationed if you're not in the military? Like Target has me stationed in
I don't think
Cleveland? Okay.
I don't think you would say that.
All right. Sorry.
Target. Yeah, I don't think Target employees say they're stationed somewhere. But yeah, I mean, every team has a position or two where they just can't invest a ton of money. And I do think that, I mean, I don't think the Eagles view safety as the most important position anyway. So now you look at who they have at cornerback and pass rush. In theory, they should have good pass rush. All that stuff kind of gives you a little more comfort level about what they have at safety. Yeah.
I think, if you have to cut corners somewhere, that's probably the position to do it.
Or cut safeties, not cut corners.
That's not bad.
Best I got today.
Yeah, maybe on the whole roster, honestly.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, that's maybe what they'll do. And I think that Howie can be creative if he needs to be. Find another guy out there.
Yeah.
All right, next one is from Jess. Hi, boys. Forgive us fans, but we are still not understanding the A.J. Brown cap stuff. When a player is traded, the contract is traded too. So why is his cap/dead cap not the responsibility of the new team that takes on the contract? Why are the Eagles left holding the bag when his new team takes the contract in its entirety? Thanks.
Well, the new team is responsible for the cash to pay him, but the cap stays with the team that gave him the contract in the first place.
Yeah, so basically
the
Eagles are not paying that money anymore, but they've skirted the salary cap and they've pushed it down the line. So they've got to eventually, whenever you pay a player $5 million, eventually $5 million has to hit the cap.
Somewhere, somehow.
Somewhere, somehow.
You can push it back years, but eventually, and the whole concept of kicking the can down is the cap grows every year. And some of the numbers I've heard for next year are massive, like huge jump. So a $5 million cap hit in 2027 is less of your cap than in 2026. That's why you want to spread it out over 2 years.
Yeah, and that's very true. You trade a player, that contract goes with them, but you're still responsible for whatever you've paid that player and haven't put to the cap so far.
Right. I hope that answers your question.
I hope so.
Hope we didn't make you even more confused.
I don't know. It is confusing stuff. It is.
It's fun stuff, though.
It is. It's fun when you get into it, but I understand it's not going to be fun for everyone, too. And the Eagles are a team that it's more complex than a lot of other teams.
True.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Next one is from Michael. Dave and Rube, am I crazy for potentially looking at Eli Stowers as taking some of the outside big man type routes A.J. Brown ran the last few years, or at least competing with Johnny Wilson for them? Could you see Stowers end 2026 with more plays lined up as the X receiver than lined up to block in line? Also, is Johnny Munt a big winner of the Stowers pick since he's really the only blocking tight end on the roster?
Johnny Munt's a big winner no matter what. I think Stowers is a tight end. There might be other ways they can use him, but he's not a wide receiver. I don't think that's where they're going to put him for the most part.
Now he's going to be detached. I don't think he's going to be in line very, very much. I don't think that's the way to use him. And I think it was on the broadcast they actually brought up Stowers being able to fill some of the A.J. Brown void after they drafted him. In a roundabout way, maybe, but I don't want to put that on the kid either. That's not why they drafted him.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is another kid. He's never played NFL football, so to expect him to put that on him, I just don't think it's totally fair.
Yeah, but in general, like, I see the point of it all. Like, he's not going to be lined up in line. They're not going to ask him to do that as much. He'll line up in the slot, occasionally out wide, I would think. Yeah. So I think there is some crossover.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I don't think there'll be a ton.
Mm-hmm. Want to do one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least.
Okay. This one is from Michael. Oh, different Michael. Just saw the video of Howie calling Stephen Jones to trade for pick number 20 and Mekhi Lemon. In it, Howie asks for a late pick back. The Cowboys won't do it this year, but offer 2027, which Howie takes. I know Howie said he was thinking about UR when he got the 7th back in the Grenard trade. Was he thinking about UR even during the first round trade?
I think Howie's been thinking about UR since they first saw him. Remember what Howie said to me when we went? He's like, I really wanted that pick this year.
So part of me wonders that. But the behind the scenes footage shows a different part of what the Cowboys showed. So part of it, I think Howie initially the Cowboys wanted 98. And Howie said no. They needed that 98, obviously. So then he said, what about the 2 4th-round picks and then a 6th back next year? And they said no to the 6th round next year. And then Howie said, well, what about a 7th this year? So maybe that moment he's like, all right, maybe I'll get the 7th now. And then when they wouldn't take it, it ended up being a 7th next year. But it is fun to see the draft rooms from two sides of a trade because you get really the full perspective on both sides of it and how they negotiated it and how it went back and forth. And I thought it was also cool that in the video, Alan Walking was on the phone. He was like texting with someone in Dallas, like finding out what they do, what they wouldn't do. And it didn't get to Howie until he's like pretty deep in the process and Howie gets on the phone to consummate the trade.
I find the draft mechanism, phone calls, the videos just totally fascinating.
I love it. I don't get tired of that stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like like the training camp Hard Knocks gets old after a while. I don't feel that way about videos from the draft rooms.
Especially when the Steelers are on the phone with a guy they think they're going to draft. But yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah. I saw someone freaking out that the Eagles released their side of it, like on video. That there was like a Steelers fan who's like, they're making them look bad. I was like, I don't know. Like they release stuff every year. It's not their fault that Steelers did something weird.
Steelers made themselves look bad.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up there for today. Thanks for all those emails. If you have a question for us, eagleeye@nbcuni.com, QR code still on the screen. And if you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe there as well. Speaking of YouTube, Rube, this is our 900th episode that landed on YouTube.
Really?
Tom Feiner gave us that information.
I figured that's where it came from.
900 on YouTube.
That's kind of crazy.
And we're closing in on 1,000 Eagle Eyes overall.
What are we at for total? What's our total? Like in the 980s?
We're maybe closer than that. Yeah, we're getting close.
What should we do to celebrate our 1,000th episode?
Call it.
What's that?
Call it. Just wrap it up.
Just call it a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go. I'd be down with that. No more pods.
Yeah.
No, if you have an idea of how we can celebrate number 1,000, email it over to Dave.
Thanks.
Well, they already have your email from scanning the barcode.
Okay. Anything else here? Anything else on your mind?
Nope.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it up. For Ruben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.